Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Ashley Brianna Eve, and today we are looking at, well, the news that broke in regards to Blake Lively being named one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people in 2025. I have Time Magazine's website up here, and she is listed under Titans in 2025. Now, one of the things I have received the most pushback on this channel is saying that Blake and Ryan are not actually being negatively impacted the way people that are consuming Justice for Justin content day in and day out believe that they are. I've spoken many times because my background, what I do day in and day out is branding, marketing, and I don't do PR for clients. Although I've been asked quite frequently to do PR for clients, I don't. However, because I've been in the world for so long, I do love giving kind of the insight into what's going on from a PR perspective. And I've been saying this, I've been hammering it, that what you see, especially if you are intentionally clicking on pro Justin, Justice for Justin content, is a fishbowl effect. It appears like Ryan and Blake are taking a bigger hit globally and in the public eye than they actually are. And I've said, one, Ryan's going to be fine. And that might upset people. Ryan's going to be fine. I said, if anyone is negatively impacted by this, it's going to be Blake. And I said, as long as she's with Ryan, I can't see that actually happening. I think if he parts ways with her and he starts to, say things about, hypothetically, she's manipulative, she's this, she's that, it was all her, then maybe. But as long as she's with Ryan, I do not see her negatively impacted at all. As long as she's represented by WME, I don't see her negatively impacted. They are, well, as Ari Emanuel said, ride or dies of WME. And you're pretty protected if you're ride or dies with WME and Ari Emanuel. So this doesn't surprise me. It also goes into the larger rebrand that they're doing. I'm going to talk briefly about Ryan Reynolds' bit of a rebrand right now as well, and also leaning into the exact same thing that Blake Lively's testament to who she is leaning into within Time Magazine's 100 most influential people. So let's dive into what it says here. Again, she's under Titans. Serena Williams is also under there. Simone Biles, like, it's interesting. I don't know what to say other than it's very interesting. The blurb that is here about her by Sherry Lynn Eiffel, apologize if I mispronounced your name, is I don't know the Blake Lively of the red carpet or the Met Gala. I never watched Gossip Girl. The Blake Lively I know is a philanthropist and a student of our country's most intractable problems. She and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, reached out in 2019 to make a contribution to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. I had been getting a few of these calls as our work fighting against voter suppression and police brutality was receiving national attention. I'm always curious about the kind of research famous people do before they make that cold call to offer their support. The ones I have remained in relationship with are those who, like Blake, really did their homework. I admired immediately her curiosity and her sincere work to understand the conditions that shape this country. I remember an early conversation in which she expressed frustration that so much of our nation's history was not part of the instruction she had received as a student. Her commitment to filling those gaps and becoming the most fully informed and prepared citizen is what I appreciate most about her. Ugh. Blake is a serious person. She's a risk taker, and she's committed to moving this country forward for her children and for mine. Eiffel is a civil rights lawyer. I struggled to get that out. I'm going to be honest. This flies in the face of the Blake Lively a lot of people know. Having her wedding at a plantation. A lot of comments she's made around. See, I can't even talk now. I'm just shocked throughout the years. This definitely flies in the face. And I can't imagine someone lying about donations that they have made. It seems very interesting that they've never brought that out within their brand, what they've been doing behind the scenes, if this is all legitimate, if it is all true. I just find it hard to believe that they had not brought this to the forefront in their brand of like, look, we're actually trying to make this country a better place. We're trying to understand the conditions that shape our country. We're trying to understand oppression. This I feel blindsided by. And I hadn't read the whole thing. I wanted to read it in full while I was recording. And now I'm at a loss of words. I'm not even going to lie. I'm at a loss of words. Can the 100 most influential people of 2025 be bought? If there was ever a time that I would say yes, this would be the time. I genuinely don't know the answer to that. I'm sure, like anything, things can be bought in this world. Loss of words. Let's see what People Magazine has to say about this. People Magazine read with the headline Blake Lively makes Time's 100 most influential people list amid Justin Baldoni legal battle. She's a risk taker. The actress was named alongside Scarlett Johansson. I think it's very interesting for SEO purposes. Now, if you combine Blake Lively, Scarlett Johansson, this is what you're going to get in SEO rather than feuds and issues that we've seen previously, which is really interesting. Donald Trump and others for the 2025 Time 100. Another Simple Favor actress, 37, is part of a batch that also includes big names like Scarlett Johansson. They put those words together again. Interestingly enough, look at that. Joe Rogan. Interesting that her name and Joe Rogan's together in an article. And Donald Trump for the year 2025. Lively's inclusion on the Time 100 comes as she's in the middle of a contentious legal battle with her It Ends With Us director co-star Justin Baldoni, which began when she sued him late last year. And then it talks about the civil rights attorney that made that statement. It essentially just puts the exact same statement here. Of the 2025 Time 100 list, Time editor-in-chief Sam Jacobs writes in his letter to readers, Time's founders knew that focusing on the individuals who are transforming the world is the best way to help readers understand it. That belief animates much of what we do at Time. What does the 2025 Time 100 tell us about the forces shaping our lives? He continues. It includes 6 members of the Trump administration, 16 corporate CEOs, a record and a sign of the emergence of a class of business leaders who are filling a leadership void, 9 leaders who are fighting for justice, equality, and democracy at a moment when the rights of so many are at stake. Jacobs concluded, members of the list come from 32 countries. Whatever change comes, we think the 2025 Time 100 will lead it. I don't know how to provide commentary on this, guys. I would say, from a branding perspective, it's just simply interesting. The only thing I can imagine is with that ruler archetype, being someone that's making a lot of donations wouldn't necessarily have fit Blake's brand. I don't think it fits her as a person anyway with the stuff that's come out. Now, Ryan Reynolds has been consistently involved in charities, and he's been consistently involved in helping the children's, I think is it the Children's Hospital every year in December. He does fundraisers for them. That actually has been a part of Ryan's brand all along. It has not been a part of Blake's. So, ultimately, sorry, I'm still speechless. Ultimately, to me, it just feels like a part of the rebrand. You look at Taylor Swift, and I actually make sure to like and subscribe because I have a video coming later on the rebrand, potentially that Taylor Swift's going to be going deeper into. But we look at Taylor Swift's brand, and it's been like, even in the eat the rich world where it's like, anti-billionaires and anti-people that are flying around in private jets due to climate change, Taylor Swift has remained largely, not entirely, but largely untouched within that because you continually see, and I know you guys, some Swifties come from her and they're like, she's always done donations. Yes, it's been a part of her brand. Taylor Swift can make donations without it becoming headlines. If you see a headline about Taylor Swift making a donation, her PR put it out there. I'm sorry. I know that can really destroy perception of some brands, but the reality is if something comes out, whether it's the pay raise for her truckers, the staff being up at like a five-star resort, donations that she's making, it's all to soften the brand of billionaire jet setting around the world during a time of climate change, while you, poor sucker, are sucking on paper straws at your house and reducing your water and your whatever intake. These people are like flying to, doing tourist trips to outer space and flying their private jet to meet someone for lunch. So in a time of really people awakening to the realities of and the discrepancy between the rich and famous and the everyday person, Taylor has strategically done things to soften the brand to make sure that she doesn't become too out of touch. And I think she's going through another rebrand. And I do believe this is a part of like Blake and Ryan putting it to the forefront because they have seemed so out of touch. And it, like I said, I'm sure the 100 most influential can be bought. I don't have any direct confirmation then of that. I have no doubt most things in life can be bought and paid for. It's all part of the rebrand. It's all part of the rebrand. She's like, just like you fighting for the country. She's just like you fighting for the future of her children and yours. They even said that for her children and for mine. She's just like you concerned about what's moving the country forward. She's just like you embroiled in, trying to figure out how we can fix things for the everyday person. It's all part of the rebrand for the every woman. She's just like you. She's just like you. And she uses her money to help you and the every woman of the world to move this country forward. What do you guys think? Now, I want you to keep in mind, this article isn't trying to convince you. This article isn't trying to convince the person that is already convinced Blake is a horrible person and that she should be stripped, kicked, and feathered and thrown out into Times Square and exiled from Hollywood. Like, this stuff isn't for you, right? This is for the every person that's getting their news through Time. That's, largely the world is pro or at least neutral or pro Ryan and Blake. When Ryan came to Canada, he got the reception of everyone was like, I love them. They're so cool. They're so funny. They're so nice. I'm so excited. They're here more often. He's been in Canada again. And that's what I'm going to cover next. The majority of the world is either neutral and has no damn idea what's going on, or have only heard snippets of what legacy media is putting out. And so therefore is pro Blake because legacy media is picking up pro Blake commentary, because you're not going to go against the machine that is someone like WME. You just won't. Ari Emanuel said it, ride or die for them. And if you cut off Blake and Ryan, or you go against that narrative, ultimately what happens, you get cut off from all WME clients, and you don't really want to be cut off from all WME clients. So anyway, it's definitely part of the every woman brand archetype. She's fighting for the children. But let's look at what Ryan's up to. Now, the one thing I will say is that Ryan Reynolds has always been big on children's charities. This isn't an out of nowhere new thing for him. So I know it's easy to want to take everything away from him, and you certainly can. And he has always been, someone that's raised money for kids and very vocal about it, unlike Blake. Ryan Reynolds wants to rename Canadian Towns Arena for a heartfelt reason. He's been spending a lot of time in Ontario, Canada recently. Why? I believe the whole Hollywood North and I have lots of videos on this, that he's been planning is fast-tracked. I believe we're going to start seeing development take place of it. And in fact, if I was on Ryan's branding and marketing team right now, I'd be telling him, just take a step back from public life, focus on Hollywood North, maybe a couple meaningful movies, which actually I did see there's a new movie coming out. We'll do it together here. I haven't clicked on it to see what it's about. Focus on some meaningful movies, not Deadpool-esque movies. Like, show your depth, express your depth. Focus on Hollywood North, pick up a couple meaningful movies, and just stay away from trouble. Keep it together. So Ryan Reynolds wants to rename Canadian Towns Arena for a heartfelt reason. Canadian actor Ryan Reynolds is lending his voice to a heartfelt cause and urging the town of Cobourg, Ontario to rename a local arena in honor of Grace Bowen, 9-year-old girl who passed away from cancer in 2015. Reynolds, who was born in Vancouver, made a special virtual appearance at the Cobourg Town Committee meeting this week, where he passionately advocated for renaming the Pond Arena after Grace. The two first met in 2014 during a Canada's Walk of Fame event in Toronto, where Bowen was backstage with hockey icon Hayley Wickenheiser. Despite meeting over a decade ago, the connection they felt left a lasting impression on the Deadpool star. She changed my life, really, Reynolds told the town's Community Services Protection Economic Development Standing Committee. I was really just taken by Grace. Her name just kind of said it all. Bowen and Ryan Reynolds kept in touch until her death in 2015 from osteosarcoma, the same type of cancer that claimed the life of Canadian hero Terry Fox in 1981. The arena was Grace's temple, That was her church. That was her everything. Hockey was her life, Reynolds said. A balloon sculpture with Grace's story has already been installed at the arena as part of Sick Kids' 150th birthday celebrations. However, Reynolds, along with Bowen's parents, believe the renaming the area would be more permanent and powerful way to honor her legacy. As parents of someone who has lost their child, I think I can speak for anyone in our shoes. The biggest fear is that you'll never hear someone say their name again. That's devastating. Grace's father, Greg, said at the meeting. The committee voted unanimously to move the proposal forward, and Cobourg City Council will be voting on the agenda item on April 30th. My only thought with this is it is 10 years later. Is there, and I don't know, I haven't done the research. I'm just asking out loud because there might be. Is it up for renaming? Is there something going on in Cobourg? I'm in Ontario myself, but I don't follow hockey. I don't follow arenas, any of that. Is there something going on? Was it up for renaming and that's why they're speaking on it? Or is it in line with the Time magazine, especially the timing of this, right? This came out April 14th, 2025. And then the news of Blake came out April 16th, 2025. So within 2 days, we have two major movements for like helping people and helping kids and helping society and really rebranding as like that every person. I don't think Ryan Reynolds is really going for the everyman brand at all. However, they are really leaning into a rebrand of their image. So that's the only thing that really stands out for me. And again, I don't know. There could have been some kind of committee thing of like an opportunity to rename. There could have been something that, that I don't know about that had come out. It's very possible. If that's not the case, and this came out of nowhere, because I imagine that committee doesn't meet once every 10 years. If it came out of nowhere, then I would say, yeah, it was all coordinated to match up with Blake. And from that perspective, using a kiddo that passed away from cancer to move a PR agenda is gross. And the reality is the majority of the public won't see it as a PR move. Really, only those that are actively searching content like this or who understand PR and understand the whole case will see this as anything other than what a nice guy. Look at him advocating for a kiddo that passed away from cancer. Now, I want to check out, while I have you guys, the new movie because he's working on a new movie. All right. So this is the new movie that's being listed on streetsoftoronto.com. Ryan Reynolds is making a film about one of Toronto's most iconic comedians, John Candy, who we recently see. It's a lot of stuff coming out from Canada. And it's my belief it's because Hollywood North is like greenlit. It's a go. I think we're going to continue to see a lot more attempts at goodwill towards Canada, spending more time in Canada, because that's like he's literally set to build, well, Hollywood North, a massive production studio and industry within Canada, with not too far from Toronto. So John Candy, who we recently listed as one of Toronto's most iconic comedians, is getting a documentary made about his life. Amazon Prime Video is in negotiations to acquire an untitled film about the comedian, directed by Vancouver-born actor Ryan Reynolds and fellow actor-director Colin Hanks. Making the John Candy documentary with Colin Hanks is heaven. So thankful and so fun, Reynolds said in an Instagram post earlier this year. I didn't even realize that. According to Variety, the film will explore Candy's life and legacy prior to his heart attack in 1994 when he died at the age of 43. Reportedly, it will look beyond his public persona. That's what I always talk to you guys about. There's someone behind the public persona. It is a public persona. And take a closer look at his private life. For the first time, the public will be able to see never-before-seen home videos and interviews with family members. The film reportedly has the support of Candy's widow, Rose, as well as their children, Jen and Chris. Reynolds announced the project, which will be made by his Maximum Effort studio in October 2022 in a post on X. Interesting. With John Candy trending, so this is Ryan Reynolds, Van City Reynolds. With John Candy trending, I'll just say I love him so much. So Maximum Effort is working on a documentary on his life with Colin Hanks. Expect tears. What did I legit had not read this previously. I saw it because if you go in Ryan Reynolds news, it's listed under Ryan Reynolds news. And what have I been saying? More heartfelt, less of the like slapstick humor, the sarcastic humor, more heartfelt. A rebrand, if you will. And it's an interesting one because it's still got kind of that hook within the Jester featuring a comedian, but expect tears. It's not Deadpool. It's, I know you guys are going to hate to hear it. A lot of people hate to hear it. It's a smart branding move. This is branding advice I would have given him. And whether it was originally meant to come out in 2025 or they're just like, look, we've got to start pushing this as part of the rebrand. Either way, it is smart. It's same advice I would give Taylor Swift right now, to be quite honest. Actually, it is advice I give Taylor Swift in a video coming later today. So make sure to like and subscribe. Reynolds announced a project which will be made by his maximum effort. Okay. Hanks is best known for his role in the Jumanji films and FX's Fargo. Love Fargo, but some of the most recent seasons were meh. But his parents, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, were well acquainted with Candy, starring alongside the comedian in the 1985 comedy Volunteers. Tom Hanks also co-starred with Candy in the 1984 comedy Splash, which helped catapult both actors to stardom. Candy was born in Newmarket and raised in East York. I used to work in a mental health program, an equine assisted therapy, so using horses as part of the therapy program near there. He started acting in small roles on Canadian TV series before perfecting his comedic timing as part of the original SCTV crew. His larger-than-life personality soon made him a fan fave, and he eventually landed roles such as carefree babysitter in Uncle Buck, a talkative traveler in planes, trains, and automobiles, the coach of a Jamaican bobsled team in Cool Runnings, and the polka king in the Midwest in Home Alone. So Ryan had posted quite frequently about this, it looks like. Even after his untimely death more than 3 decades ago, many fans still honor the actor every year on October 31st, his birthday. In 2020, former Toronto Mayor John Tory officially proclaimed John 31st John Candy Day in honor of what would have been the comedian's 70th birthday. I wonder if this will launch around that day. Probably not 2025, I imagine. I don't know how fast this would move or how far along it is, but I do wonder if this will be something that comes out around his birthday. So again, we're getting the Times 100 most influential from Blake. It is good publicity for her, whether you believe it or not, whether you believe it was paid or not. For the general public that is not following this case, it is really good publicity for her. We have Ryan Reynolds coming out 10 years after the death of that young girl, pushing to have an arena renamed. And again, unless there's some reason it was only now being renamed, it does seem sketchy, the timing. But again, maybe there is a reason it's just now. And then April 15th, and you're going to see more and more push of marketing for Ryan in Ontario, Canada, because of Hollywood North. I've said this for some time, so this doesn't surprise me because I've called this. Maybe I do know what I'm talking about with branding and marketing. I know some people don't believe me. But so when we're looking at this, now we have April 15th, which was just yesterday. This coming out, Ryan Reynolds is making a film about one of Toronto's most iconic comedians. And also when we look at nostalgia, connecting his name, which is not, at the end of the day, it looks like this has been in talks since 2022. However, putting news stories out now, connecting his name with John Candy is very smart branding because of that nostalgia effect. So people that see John as iconic and someone that brings back really positive memories for them and they just like adored him. Now you have the name Ryan Reynolds attached to that. And that actually is very smart branding, especially if you're going through kind of a PR crisis, to attach your name to someone that's really beloved. It is. All right. Well, that's the news that we have for Ryan. So I would say overall for Blake and Ryan, it's been what I've been calling for some time. They're both going through rebrands. I think hers is more of the every woman. I'd have to take a better look at Ryan's to really nail his. I think he's still, if I'm being honest, I think he's still in kind of the muddy middle of figuring it out and testing the waters on it, to be quite honest. On that rebrand, I don't think he's going to stick with the Jester. I don't think he's going to stick with the jester. I feel he would probably lean more towards the creator, innovator energy. But I'm witnessing it. I don't really follow him much in the news, but I imagine he's still trying to really nail it right now and seeing it based off of like the public feedback, not necessarily your feedback, but the bigger public feedback on what's going down and then making tweaks as he goes. But I would say he's going in that family of archetypes. All right, my friends, let me know in the comments. What do you think? Is the timing just really interesting? And I love to hear outside of your group of people, leave it in the comments. So if you're in Australia, if you're in the UK, if you're wherever in the world, right? Wherever in the world, what is the general public consensus on this case? I'd love to hear that. I know in Ontario, it is very much either neutral or pro Ryan and Blake. And then also, I want to let you guys know, for those that are following me on Instagram, I've had a lot of people be like, I couldn't find you. Yes, I changed my name on Instagram to my brand name, which is brandbydesign.co. So if you can't find me, that's why. And my image is no longer my face, it's bbd.co. And it's like got a bright blue background. So if you were on Instagram, you're like, where did Ashley go? Did she delete her Instagram? I am still there. And another thing I want to let you guys know is I've had a personal training and health and wellness studio for over 15 years. And I actually got started in the health and wellness field because at the time I was a counselor and I started prioritizing my health and wellness and saw how it had a direct impact on my mental health. Started a personal training studio, and I've gone through phases over the years, whether I make it, do any branding and marketing publicly with it, or sorry, not publicly, but online rather than word of mouth. But I've decided to lean into it. And so you can find me, I'll put the links for those channels in the show notes for this, but it's Stronger Functional Fitness on Instagram and a YouTube channel as well. So I'll put the links if you want to follow in terms of health and wellness. It is primarily for perimenopause age, so 35 plus, and it is plant-based, but you can still hang out even if you're not plant-based. There's still a lot of information for you. So you can check those out in the show notes as well. All right, that's all I have for you in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe because I'm going to have a video later breaking down Taylor Swift's rebrand. Yes, they are all rebranding right now, and it's smart. And I'm not going to lie, I've been very vocal about how I have not liked Ryan and Blake's PR, branding, and marketing moves up until this point. They're starting to nail their stride. Whether they fired the old people that were doing their branding and marketing and PR for this and brought on new people, or they're just finally listening to what people are saying. It's, not what people are going to want to hear, but they are nailing their stride. This is what I would be telling them to do. All right, guys. Hope you enjoy your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.